Hello, Yappers, and welcome back to the Yap Trap podcast. I am your host, Jordan, and this podcast is the best and messiest of pop culture, and we love doing some deep dives over here about what is going on in pop culture, what is going on the internet, and what's going on with the girlies, you know? So I'm really excited for today's episode. I literally say that every episode is so annoying. Every time I start recording for the podcast, I tell myself, don't say, I'm so excited for today's episode, because I literally say that every single time, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like a nervous tick or something, but like I'm really excited for today's topic because it's a really good topic, and I do cover really good topics on this podcast, so I am truly excited for every single topic that we cover on this podcast. And today we are actually deep diving into Amazon Prime's glossy docuseries that follows the influencer and entrepreneur Molly-Mae Hague. I would say that Molly-Mae is probably the UK's biggest influencer, if not one of the UK's biggest influencer, and her reach is global because here we go, I'm an Australian girl and I have been following Molly-Mae for years, absolutely obsessed with her, love her. Today, we are going to be unpacking what makes Molly-Mae such a fascinating but divisive figure in the public. We're going to break down each episode of the new docuseries that has just dropped, and then we're going to discuss some of the feedback because the public have lots of thoughts about this documentary, and we are going to get into it because honestly, I feel like this docuseries actually raised more questions than it answered. But before any of that, for those that don't know, who is Molly-Mae? Molly-Mae Hague was born on the 26th of May, 1999, and she is an English reality TV personality, best known for Love Island 2019, where she finished as a runner-up with Tommy Fury. Before entering the villa, she actually already had a small following. She had about 10,000 subscribers on YouTube and 100,000 followers on Instagram. So she did kind of go into the Love Island villa as a little bit of a business move, kind of hoping to increase her public profile, and boy, did it work. It absolutely worked. Season 5 of Love Island, which is Molly-Mae's season, really is considered the peak of Love Island. It is my favorite season of Love Island. I was absolutely obsessed with that island because you had Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury, but you also had some really iconic other couples as well. There was just so many golden moments from that series of Love Island, and honestly, maybe I should do a recap deep dive of that series of Love Island. Should I? Let me know if you'd like that. After leaving the Love Island villa, Molly-Mae signed a £500,000 deal with Pretty Little Thing, and later went on to actually become the creative director of Pretty Little Thing. And this was, of course, a controversial move because people are like, why are you making an influencer the creative director of this company? Like, is she really the creative director of this company, or is she more so like an influencer, like figurehead? And it was a really strange move. But yeah, Molly has had her fair share of controversies, which we will get into. She also has launched her own tanning brand, which is Filter by Molly-Mae, and has also landed some massive sponsorships. Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury welcomed their daughter, Bambi Fury, on the 23rd of January, 2023. The couple later got engaged in the summer of 2023 in Ibiza, and you've probably seen the video. It was a really dramatic influencer engagement. You know, the whole thing was filmed with high quality cameras. She was decked out in white. It was like an extremely extravagant engagement, but the internet was really happy because Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury really are like the darlings of the internet. Like, they are such a quintessential influencer couple. In August of 2024, Molly-Mae essentially broke the internet when she posted an Instagram story saying that her and Tommy Fury had broken up, and that it was the last thing she ever expected to post, and that it's not what she wanted, but they were breaking up. Send the internet into an absolute tailspin. Like, I remember the day that this happened, I was so shocked. I was like, what is going on? They're engaged. They have a daughter together. What the heck is happening? I mean, throughout their past, there has been multiple cheating allegations as well. And there had been quite a lot of cheating allegations at the start of 2024, but they kind of, you know, they went through that period, and it wasn't until later on in the year that they announced the breakup, which was, yeah, just absolutely went crazy on the internet. So what is Molly-Mae's appeal? Like, why is she this mega influencer? Molly sits in the rare middle ground. She is both aspirational and relatable, and it is a really challenging balance for her sometimes, and sometimes the scale tips much more towards, you know, being not so relatable because her life is too aspirational. Molly-Mae has over 8 million followers on Instagram and millions of subscribers on YouTube as well. She also owns a £3.8 million home as well that she has an Instagram account for called Molly Maison. But she still somehow manages to be relatable. On her YouTube channel, she's a lot more stripped back. She's makeup free. She's very candid. She'll cry. She'll tell the truth about motherhood. And despite coming across as really reserved and shy in interviews and public facing things, she's been really refreshingly open on YouTube about things like dissolving all of the filler she had in her face. And I will say the one thing with Molly-Mae really was one of the first influencers to openly go and say, I am dissolving my filler. I do not look like myself. I'm dissolving my filler. I'm getting my veneers taken out. And she really almost started that trend. I really would say that Molly-Mae was one of the influencers that started the trend of dissolving the filler, dissolving the lips. And she is looking a lot more natural today than she was 4 or 5 years ago because she's had everything dissolved. She actually went viral a couple of years ago when a photo of her just following some fresh Botox and fresh filler went viral because she literally looked like the handsome Squidward meme. If you're watching this video on YouTube, I'm going to insert a photo because it was actually crazy. But her dissolving all of her filler actually really appealed to her audience as well. She's also been really open about her journey with endometriosis and getting endometriosis surgery. And she's been super transparent about the ups and downs of parenting her now 2-year-old daughter Bambi. And she has actually had a few viral moments with her 2-year-old daughter Bambi because her daughter Bambi is really going through those terrible twos at the moment. And she will break down crying on camera saying it's just really challenging. And recently it has been quite hard for her because her daughter Bambi has been biting people at daycare. And it kind of went viral where her daughter's like, I'm going to bite Dory. I'm going to bite Emily. And this clip went absolutely viral of her daughter saying that. She included that in the vlog, but I digress.
I'm gonna bite someone.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna bite
No.
Dory.
No, we don't use our mouth to bite, do we?
We bite Emily.
No.
Bite different Dory.
No.
However, with that, Molly-Mae has had her fair share of controversies. She has faced backlash for multiple things. One instance was when she called Italian food grim. One of the major instances was when she was doing an interview with Stephen Bartlett for Diary of a CEO, and she said that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. This comment went absolutely viral. The vitriol that she got for making this comment, people were like, how dare she? That is so tone deaf. We don't all have the same 24 hours a day. You're so privileged. And although she's definitely privileged and she's definitely, not that relatable, obviously she meant nothing by making those comments. I just think like the hatred that she gets can be incredibly over the top, and I'm all for holding influencers accountable. But when it comes to Molly-Mae and how people treat her online, she is very highly criticized for everything that she does. I do feel as though the breakup with Tommy Fury last year did kind of soften her to the public a little bit. Like, people really rallied around her following this breakup because, as I said, there were quite a lot of cheating allegations around Tommy. None of this has been proven or none of this has been confirmed. However, there was a lot of cheating allegations, and the people kind of really rallied behind her and were even calling her the people's princess of the 2020s. Fast forward, on the 15th of November, during an interview with British Vogue, Molly-Mae confirmed she would be the subject of a new Prime Video documentary about her life. This documentary was allegedly meant to be about Molly-Mae Hague's wedding to Tommy Fury, but of course they broke up. So instead, this was repurposed into a documentary about Molly-Mae's new life as a single mother, a businesswoman, about to launch her first fashion brand. So let's just do a quick recap of season 1 of the documentary behind it all. So season 1 was highly anticipated because it was going to be following Molly-Mae just not long after her breakup with Tommy Fury. The focus was definitely adjusting to single motherhood, launching her new clothing brand Maybe, and balancing fame, business pressure, and family. Some of the key storylines in season 1 were, a high stakes Maybe photo shoot in a snowstorm. We learned that her and Tommy had actually separated due to his use of alcohol, which really rocked the internet as well. So basically, she said that he would just drink recreationally all the time and it made her really uncomfortable. And she didn't really go into it much further than that. People, again, are unsure if there's cheating involved. It's got honest reflections on first love, burnout, and self-image. The tone was definitely raw, emotional, and surprisingly vulnerable, showing a different side of Molly that people who didn't follow her YouTube channel hadn't really seen before because she's so polished on Instagram that those that don't follow her YouTube channel and see that side of her would have definitely been shocked by the vulnerability vulnerability that she shows on this documentary. The public reception was mixed to season 1. I personally really enjoyed it. It kind of fell off towards the back end of part 2 a little bit for me, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good documentary. The maybe side of things, like the business side, I did find that to be a little boring. It just kind of felt like a massive ad for her brand. And for me personally, her brand Maybe, it's very much so like, it almost looks like, and this is topical because I just did an episode on the Victoria Beckham documentary. It almost looks like a cheaper imitation of Victoria Beckham's brand, like that very chic, and maybe it's an English thing because they're both English brands. I don't know, maybe it's an English thing, but it's very much like blazers and trousers and like grey and beige and black and white, and it all looks the same to me, and it's really not my style at all. So the whole Maybe side of things just doesn't really appeal to me. And even as someone who I would consider myself a Molly-Mae fan, I would never buy from that brand because it's like, and I work a corporate job. Molly-Mae does not work a corporate job. These influencers don't work a corporate job. Yet tell me why the clothes that she sells on Maybe are even, I'm like, ugh, I wouldn't even wear that to the office, babes. Like, if you're designing clothes for your followers, why don't you actually think about your followers doing a day-to-day? Anyway, sorry, I'm getting too into this podcast episode is not about the brand Maybe. So let's move on. People were frustrated that Tommy Fury didn't really appear in this documentary at all. Viewers were left with questions about the status of Molly and Tommy because in part 1 of season 1, they were broken up. And she was like, we're broken up. It's because of the drink. It's because he can't stop drinking. By the time part 2 rolled around, they had started to rekindle things. But yeah, it left a lot of questions unanswered. And the documentary, I would say, is definitely more appealing for people that are fans of Molly-Mae. I feel like if you're not a fan of Molly-Mae, like, you're not really going to enjoy this documentary. You're probably going to find it quite boring. But if you are a fan of her, whether casually or a full-on fan, I think you'll love this documentary. I would say I'm more of a casual fan, and I enjoyed it. I found it interesting. Now, let's get into season 2. That's why we're here. Let's get into it. In November 2024, Amazon Prime confirmed that behind it all, season 2 was coming. So we're going to do an episode-by-episode breakdown. So far, there are 3 episodes out of season 2. Episode 1, and I will say from the get-go, what I found to be immediately noticeable, I think the production quality has improved for season 2. I don't know if there's a higher budget or if it's just brighter. Like, season 1 felt quite dark and dreary, whereas season 2 feels very bright. Like, there's a lot more lighting. I don't know if they had more budget for lights, but it just felt a lot more visually stunning. The music, and I don't know, it feels a little bit like, I mean, it's a docuseries about an influencer, but it really feels like the filmmakers were like, yeah, let's like edit this in and put some music in and do some B-roll shots. Like, there was a lot of effort going into the production of it all. It opens with a very raw parenting moment. Basically, Bambi is having an absolute tantrum during potty training. Molly is trying to get her to go potty on this little pink potty set. I don't know. I'm obviously not a parent. I don't know these things, but basically Molly's trying to get her to go to the toilet on this little potty set. And again, like, the camera people are just filming all of this. Like, this whole thing is being filmed. Obviously, parts of Bambi are being blurred out, but this is being filmed. Like, she sat on the potty and she's being filmed and she's having an absolute tantrum. She does not want to go potty on this little potty thing. And so Molly puts her in the bath. She's absolutely kicking off. And while she's in the bath, she literally does a poo in the bath. And Molly's like, she's just done a poo in the bath. And again, the camera crew is filming all of this. Like, they are. So obviously the camera, I can't imagine how many people are on the camera crew. I don't know. Is it 5 people? Is it 10 people? Like, how many people are watching this toddler have a bath and watching this toddler do a poo in the bath? And also, like, the digital footprint of this toddler now. There is now going to be a video of her doing a poo in the bath on the internet forever. That's a bit weird.
Where's my twirly?
Tell Daddy what happened. Tell him.
I did the poo in the bath.
You did a poo in the bath?
Yeah.
Oh no, Bambi. You meant to go to the toilet.
Bambi cry. So
cry?
bad.
Was it floating around?
Yeah. Like a snail.
What?
It's like a snail.
You're a funny baby.
A lot of people say having children can really like pull you apart,
You're like a snail.
but that was never part of the problem with Tommy and I.
So from the get-go, we learned that Molly-Mae and Tommy are back together, but we don't really know where they stand. They're not what they used to be. They are back together, but they're not living together. She's not wearing her engagement ring either. And basically she said that she kind of wants a bit of a gesture before she puts that engagement ring back on. I'm going to quote directly from the documentary. "We're back together. I don't know what we are. I've not put my engagement ring back on yet because I just don't feel quite ready," she says while speaking to the camera. She goes on to explain, "And also, I would kind of like him to make a bit of a gesture. Not ask me again. That's just like a lot. But you know, just a nice dinner or something to have that moment of like, okay, I'll wear my ring again." So that's a bit strange as well. Like so obviously they are back together. She doesn't feel ready to put the ring back on yet. I don't really blame her. So yeah, I guess it'll be interesting. I wonder if Tommy watches this and then goes, "Oh, better do a gesture." Wonder if they'll get the film crew out again to do it. Awkward. So a major subplot of this episode is the office renovations for her business Maybe, and we kind of learn where Maybe's at. In season 1 of the documentary, we really got to see a lot of the launch of Maybe, and now we're kind of seeing where Maybe is at now, and honestly it seems like Maybe is not as successful as Molly had hoped. Seems like there's been kind of a few controversies around Maybe. It's not really kicking off like she expected, and basically in their recent spring drop, the sales really didn't go that well for the brand, and they think that maybe it's because Molly wasn't front and center in the marketing, which is also concerning because yes, it's an influencer brand, but Molly makes it clear that she really wants this brand to stand on its own, separate to who she is as an influencer, and clearly it can't. So there is a lot of pressure on Maybe at the moment to have a successful summer launch. While this is happening, she's doing these major office renovations, and I just think this is crazy. So you have a business that is in its infancy. It is the last launch did not go well. The business is not doing what you think it should be doing, / it's not even able to sell out its spring collection, and she is heavily investing in this business. This is all her money because the business is not profitable. Like it really, and she's got a team as well. She's got a team to pull this off, and yeah, the business is not profitable. So she's sinking her own personal money into all of these crazy renovations of this office, and that just seems insane to me. Like I know she's an influencer, and in her mind, like it's very clear how important aesthetics are to Molly-Mae. And that makes sense. She's built her whole career off the back of aesthetics. Like her Instagram is picture perfect. She's so pedantic about aesthetics. So in her mind, she's thinking, the brand will be successful if I have an aesthetic office to take photos and vlogs in. Babe, I'm sorry, I don't think it works like that. Like sinking that much money into major office renovations that early on. Like I know there's something to be said about, you know, she obviously believes in the business and that's why she's investing so much into it. And I do think you have to believe in yourself and you have to invest in yourself. But I just think this is too much too fast personally. In this episode, she also opens up about using childcare / nannies for Bambi. So there has been a lot of speculation online as to whether Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury utilize nannies and childcare to take care of Bambi, and a lot of people feel like she's a full-time influencer. Why would she even need a nanny? Like that's really slack of her. Like how could she have a nanny? Like there's a lot of discourse and negativity around her suspected use of using a nanny and of using childcare, and she actually admits it for the first time in this documentary. So throughout any of her YouTube vlogs or anything she's done in the past, she's never actually admitted to it, but she admits to it here in this documentary, and you can tell she's so uncomfortable and she's quite afraid of the public backlash. And she even says, I've not spoken on this before because I'm scared of what people are going to say. I'm scared of the reaction. Now, when it comes to this, I think that is absolutely ridiculous. Like Molly-Mae, yes, she's an influencer. Yes, you could say she has a very, very privileged life. However, she works. This is how she is so successful. She literally works. She has a brand. She's doing multiple brand deals. She has multiple businesses. Like at the end of the day, like there's one thing you can't say about Molly-Mae. She doesn't just sit around doing nothing. Like she genuinely has multiple business ventures, and I could see why she would have a need to have childcare for her child. Other working parents use childcare for their child. I will definitely, when I one day have children, will have to use childcare for my child. I don't understand the big deal. Like celebrities need childcare. Normal people need childcare. Don't see the big deal. And if I was rich enough where instead of childcare, I could have a nanny come over to my house and look after my child while I was working in another room, of course you would do it. Of course you would do it. Are you joking me? Like, I don't understand the big fuss about her having a fucking nanny. Like, it's ridiculous. So I will say, although I am a little critical of how much they show of Bambi in this documentary, and that continues throughout this whole docuseries, they show just too much of Bambi than what I'm personally comfortable with. I will say there are so many moments of her parenting, and it's really, really sweet because, like I said, she does have such a tailored front-facing image. Like, she is so well put together, and you think she just has this perfect life and she's so perfect, but then, you know, they're showing her scooping poo out of a bath, and also she's just so silly with her daughter, and she plays games with her daughter, and she puts on these voices when she's playing with Bambi, and it's really, really sweet to see. I really like seeing that. Where episode 1 ends is that she's basically talking about her living situations with Tommy. And what we see in this documentary is that sometimes when Bambi is having a little bit of a tantrum, she's asking for daddy. Like, she's like, where's daddy? I want daddy. And she's like screaming. And Molly kind of says, you know, her and Tommy are not yet living together. They both live in 2 separate houses. So Molly-Mae is living in the Molly-Mae Maison, £3.4 million home. This thing is a mansion. It's gorgeous. It's got an Instagram account. If you're interested, check it out. Molly Maison. So that's where Molly lives. Tommy lives separate to that. He's FaceTiming all the time. He's checking in. And of course, she goes over to his house and stays with him. But Bambi does not have that consistency. They are not living together. And Molly-Mae is torn about what is the right step. It makes her feel quite anxious, the thought of moving back in together. And it's almost like she's using her home as a safety net. Moving on to episode 2. So one of the big dramas from episode 1 is that Molly-Mae's content creator for Maybe quit right at the last moment, right when they're trying to shoot this summer collection, which is a big deal because the spring collection flopped. So the summer collection needs to do really, really well. Her content creator quit. So she gets this new content creator, Jess. They are shooting for this summer collection. And again, you can tell how much Molly cares about this brand, but I'm looking at the clothes and I'm not vibing. I'm sorry. A summer collection and it's a bunch of fucking beige and grey business shirts. What? Like, I don't know. I'm just not vibing, but whatever. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not the target demographic. I mean, I should be the target demographic. I enjoy watching Molly-Mae's content. I'm in my 20s. I'm a woman, but I'm not. Anyway, hire me for Maybe. I'll be a strategic coordinator or whatever, honestly. Anyway, again, just want to touch on, there is so much footage of Bambi's potty training. Again, I'm not a parent, so I'm sure it is really wonderful for parents to see this, how relatable it is. I'm sure it's so relatable, you know, the struggles that she's going through with Bambi's potty training, but I just don't think that they had to show Bambi sitting on the potty. I just don't know if that's appropriate. We also see that Molly-Mae is invited to L'Oreal Paris to take part in their Walk Your Worth campaign. Now, this is a bit of a throwback to season 1 of the documentary because in season 1, Molly-Mae actually attends this event and one of the founders or something like that says to her, oh, it should be you up there. And Molly's like, oh, no. Like, I just had a baby. And she kind of goes on to say that she really doesn't feel confident doing that sort of thing. So when she's invited this year, it does really feel like a full circle moment of her actually doing this thing, but she's really umming and ahhing over it. Like, she really just does not have the confidence to say yes on the spot, and she really wants to think about it because she's not sure. Circling back to the whole Maybe storyline, the summer line drops and it seems to be performing well. It doesn't seem like it's performing super well, like it's not like flying off the shelves, but it seems to be performing better than their spring collection, and Molly seems to be quite happy with that outcome, so good for her. A lot of this episode focuses on the struggles that Molly-Mae is having with parenting Bambi, and that Bambi really is going through the terrible twos. Despite what it seems like on the outside, you know, Molly-Mae has this picture perfect life. She was a reality TV star. She had this perfect relationship. She's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She has these incredible opportunities. She flies all over the world. She's got this gorgeous daughter. She just says that she's not happy, and she just says that she knows she should be happy, but she's miserable. She says, and I quote, "This is the stuff of dreams. Trying to be a mum, trying to be a good partner, it's not easy. My situation is quite bespoke. It's a lot of pressure." So she knows that she has this incredible life, but she feels so much pressure and she feels so much anxiety. This episode also covers some recent public criticism that she had, where she basically posted a YouTube video, and in that video she said she was going to get to the end of the summer and she's not had any fun. And this really echoes the sentiment. Basically, she's got this incredible life, but she doesn't have any fun. She really doesn't have any fun. And this quickly spirals online with her followers pointing out that she literally has the life of a celebrity on social media, including trips to Dubai, the Cotswolds, and even went to Wimbledon. And people are like, how can you say you've not had any fun? Like, there are literally people out there working 80 hours a week, like hustling, working hospitality. They have really challenging lives, and you have all of that, and you get to the end of and you're saying you're going to get to the end of the summer and not have had any fun. Like, it was a little bit tone deaf. And of course, like, she instantly feels terrible. And you really see the moment where she realizes that this is going to be a bit of an internet scandal. Her manager, Fran, calls her and is like, yup, so obviously, there's a lot coming out in the media about those comments. And Molly just says, I shouldn't have said it. I can't believe I said that. She goes on to say, I was so frustrated with myself when I saw the comments. I can completely understand why people had a problem with what I said.
The days where the nation's turned against you, like, they're not the best days.
You should see the amount of messages I've had.
I can't lie, it has been pretty bad my end with the press.
What this happened this time, I can see why it's happened. It looks like socialising because I have such an incredible job. I have had a great summer and I have an incredible life.
I understand that. I think it's how you've articulated it.
No, it's
in the way
stupid.
that
It's annoying.
I don't have fun. Every day you have fun.
No, I'm so blessed. Like,
one thing about Molly is she'll hold her hand up if she's done something wrong.
I'm definitely not perfect, and I definitely think I could make improvements still.
You have to understand that people are looking to cancel you. They are.
100%.
And I do think people are always looking for your downfall. Like, I've noticed that over the last few years, since, your profile has risen.
I think we're at a stage now where, like, one wrong comment and it could all be...
And that's a scary thought.
It is. I don't even want to say it.
She also addressed for the very first time the 24 hours in a day comment on the Stephen Bartlett Diary of a CEO podcast. And she's so aware of how that moment shaped her reputation, because basically the internet hated her for like a month after that happened. And she said of that instance, I genuinely meant no malice or anything in that comment. I felt I upset so many people. I had to hold my hands up. But she also goes on to talk about some of the public backlash and how that made her feel. Basically, some people were getting so angry with her, they were leaving horrendous death threats in her comments. She kind of asked, like, who has that level of anger? And I agree, regardless of, some clunky, tone deaf comments that this girl has made, the fact that people then go on to leave her death threats over that type of comment is just absolutely insane. I do really feel for her in this moment in the documentary. A lot of people are so quick to call Molly-Mae out of touch and tone deaf when she makes comments like this, and she really struggles, as I said at the start of the episode, she really struggles with that balancing act of relatability and aspirational. But how can she be relatable and authentic when she lives the life that she lives? Like, she lives this insane life. Moving on to episode 3. Molly heads to Wales with her best friend Taylor and their daughters to unplug and recharge. And this whole trip seems a little bit strange, because this trip, basically, she goes on to take this trip because she's feeling really burnt out. She's been working a lot. She's stressed out of her mind. So she decides to go on this trip and have a bit of a getaway. But this also happens to coincide with the premiere of Tommy Fury's documentary. So Tommy Fury had his own documentary called Tommy, The Good, The Bad, The Fury. I have not watched that, so I don't know what's actually in that documentary. But yeah, she completely missed the premiere to go on this girls' trip with her friend. Something that I found so crazy is that while she's on this trip, on holidays with her best friend and her daughter Bambi, and then her best friend also has her daughter there as well, people are coming up to her and asking her for photos. And there was one scene where they're kind of at this like theme park sort of thing, and Bambi and the other little girl, like, obviously it's the end of the day, the girls are exhausted, and Molly-Mae and Taylor, you can tell that they're just kind of at their wits' end, juggling 2 toddlers. I could imagine that it would be quite challenging, especially by the end of the day. The toddlers are tired, they're starting to cry, get a little bit sooky, totally understandable. But what is insane is all throughout this, people are approaching Molly-Mae and asking for photos. And you can tell like the internal battle that Molly-Mae is having. Like, she's posing for so many photos, like, and she's trying to be so friendly and so considerate to her fans. And her daughter is literally having a tantrum and people are approaching her for a photo. I just thought that was insane. Genuinely, what is wrong with people? Like, I know she's a public figure and I know that her whole brand is built on authenticity. But imagine seeing a public figure or an influencer in the public having a very, very real parenting moment. Their child is screaming, crying, having a tantrum. Their child is exhausted. They're just trying to get home. And you have the gall to approach and ask for a photo? That is so inappropriate to me. I could never, ever do that. I would feel uncomfortable approaching an influencer for a photo, even at a meet and greet, let alone when they are clearly having a holiday and their child is having a tantrum crying. Like, that is just so inappropriate. But this really upsets Molly, and she's so worried. She has to turn down the photo and say, I'm so sorry, I cannot get a photo right now. Like, I'm so sorry, I have to take care of my daughter who is screaming. And she's so cut up about this. She's like, oh my gosh, like, what are they going to think? What are they going to think? Like, they're going to hate me. I didn't stop for a photo. And she's so aware of public perception of her, and she's so conscious of that. We also see quite a lot of lingering trust issues with Tommy kind of emerge while she's on this trip as well. As I said, on this trip, this is the premiere of Tommy's documentary, and she's on the phone to him, and the camera crew kind of captures this conversation that she's having with Tommy, and they're not vibing. Tommy is basically celebrating the premiere of his documentary, and obviously he started drinking and he's having a few drinks with his mates, which I think, like, bro, you broke up. Like, she broke up with you because of the drink. And he came out and did an interview saying, you know, I tore my family apart because I couldn't stop drinking. And then he celebrates the release of his documentary by drinking. Like, what is going on? No wonder she doesn't trust him. And she's obviously so uncomfortable. She's so upset. When she's talking to the camera later, she goes on to say, I don't want to be a nag. I don't want to be a bore. I want him to be able to do this thing, but there are still things that make me anxious. That's not his fault. It's more so me dealing with it. I'm sorry, but you set a boundary. Don't drink. And he still repeatedly goes out and gets drunk. Like, that just feels like a bit of disrespect to me. But obviously she's thinking that it's her fault, that she's feeling this way. At the end of the day, like, I love a good, you know, I love a wine. I love a bit of alcohol. I like to drink here and there. But if you are literally in a situation where you have broken up with your partner because of their relationship with alcohol, and they've come out and said, you know, I'm going to change, let's get back together, and then they go and get drunk at the premiere of their documentary while you're not there, I don't know. She admits that she was really triggered by this, and she says, I hear the word alcohol, I'm tense, I'm shaking, I'm really anxious. I care so much about Tommy and our relationship. I find it consuming. She says that she's been left physically sick during a panic attack and says it's just trust issues. It's trust issues. So I don't know. I really don't think we're getting the full story as to what has gone on between her and Tommy. If something maybe happened while he was drinking, and she's kind of directing everything towards drinking, but there is a lot of trust issues there. And also, during this holiday, she actually clashes with her manager Fran and gets berated by her manager Fran because basically she was meant to film content for a brand deal that she was doing, and she told her manager Fran that she'd already filmed the content and that it was already done, but really she was just going to do it while she was on holiday. Anyway, she gets on holiday, realizes she forgot to bring the product that she was meant to film the content with. So instead of calling Fran and letting her know, she just ignored Fran for 3 days. So when Fran finally gets a hold of her, Fran's absolutely fuming, and Fran is like, you've let people down, like, you've let this brand down, this is your reputation. And Fran is like really chewing her out, like really giving it to her. And Molly's like, I know. So then they actually have to end the holiday early and rush home so she can film content for this brand. And it honestly seems like this holiday stressed her out more than anything. Like, it genuinely seemed horrible from what we saw. Like, did not seem fun at all. I can kind of see what she means when she says she's not having any fun. Did not look fun. In this episode, she also prepares for her big moment, her L'Oreal catwalk. This is a massive moment. So she does decide to go ahead and do the L'Oreal catwalk, and this is massive. Her mum and her sister have also been flown there on a private jet to support her. It's a really big deal. In one moment in the documentary that I thought was really funny is that she's talking to her sister, Zoe, and basically she's talking about Kendall Jenner because Kendall Jenner is going to be at this event. And Zoe's like, do you think that Kendall Jenner knows who you are? And Molly's like, no way. There's no way that Kendall Jenner knows who I am. And I'm honestly like, maybe she does. Like, Molly-Mae is a pretty famous influencer. I don't think Molly-Mae knows her own fame because I'm over here in Australia and like she is very well known in Australia. Like, most of my friends know who she is. So she goes to the fitting for the L'Oreal catwalk, and this is like the day before the actual event, and this is where the drama really kicks off. She hates everything. She's spiraling into self-doubt, and it's quite shocking how lacking in confidence she is. Like, this is a girl that just has no confidence. Basically, she's running through the rack. She's looking at everything. She hates everything, and she's being so picky. She hates all of the looks that they've pulled for her, and she keeps saying like, I need to look my best, I'm meant to look my best, and she just absolutely hates everything.
I can't go out like that. I want to feel like the best I've ever felt. Maybe I have to put my diva pants on and just stick to my guns.
She hates everything that they've pulled, so they decide they're going to get another outfit for her last minute that's going to arrive just a couple hours before the show. That outfit arrives, and it's like this long, silky, kind of grey, silvery number. She hates it. She absolutely despises it. It also has a side split that reveals her leg, and she's like, I never get my leg out. When in my career have I ever got my leg out?
This is meant to be like, but also I do think I've never got my leg out in my whole career, and on the moment when I'm meant to feel my best and look my most confident, I had to suddenly get my leg out because I've got nothing else. I get it.
She regularly posts bikini photos. Like, I'm not judging. Like, obviously you want to feel comfortable in what you feel comfortable with, but don't say like, never in my career have I got my leg out when you regularly post bikini photos, babes. Like, please, some self-awareness. Like, if you don't like the dress, you don't like the dress. Honestly, she just keeps hammering on about how she hates it, and it's really awkward. Like, her manager Fran is there, Zoe's there, there's obviously stylists there from L'Oreal, and it's really, really uncomfortable. And I really like Molly. I think she's a lovely girl, and I think you can kind of tell that she's really polite, she's really sweet, but in this moment, she is coming across as a fully fledged diva. Like, it's uncomfortable to watch. Like, she really, honestly...
It doesn't even like accentuate my body or anything. It's just like, it's just baggy. I'm meant to be walking out on a stage here in front of hundreds of people, like feeling my best I've ever felt.
She's coming across as a brat. Really coming across as a brat. And basically her Fran is kind of pressing Molly-Mae on, are you going to walk the show or not? Because Molly's having a full freak. She's like, I'm not doing it. Like, all of these people are there for her. They've flown out her mum, her manager, and her sister on a private jet. And she is freaking out. She doesn't want to do it. And Fran's also making like frantic phone calls. Like, we are talking, this is hours before the show. Fran's making frantic phone calls being like, we need it to be altered. Like, we need to do something like da-da-da-da. And yeah, it's just clear that she's just so lacking in confidence, because looking at her in this dress, she looks beautiful. She looks stunning. This dress looks incredible on her. The coloring really suits her. She looks gorgeous, but she has no confidence. It doesn't matter what that dress would have looked like. She would have hated any of it. She went into that and she was going to hate anything that was put in front of her. Ultimately, it's clear that her confidence is still a battle for her despite all of her success, and that is where the first part of season 2 ends. It's this cliffhanger of will she, won't she actually walk in this catwalk? Now, spoiler alert, all of this was filmed months ago, and so she's already posted on Instagram that she did walk in the catwalk. So, we already know, the big cliffhanger for season 2, because she posted on Instagram maybe like a month ago that this had actually happened. She did walk the catwalk. But it's interesting because when she posted these photos on Instagram of her walking the catwalk, she had so much positive reception to that. People were like, oh my God, babe, like, you look stunning, so proud of you, like, you're amazing. So to know that this is what was really going on and that she actually hated the dress was definitely quite shocking. So part 2 of the documentary, episodes 4 to 6, are set to drop early 2026. So I guess we'll find out what happens. Obviously, she fucking walks the show. Now, let's get into some of the public reception and social media chatter around this docuseries, because anything involving Molly-Mae has always got a massive public reception. So the reaction has definitely been mixed, as always, when it comes to Molly-Mae. Some fans say it's better than season 1, it's tighter, it's more engaging, it's more visually stunning. Others criticize the 30-minute runtime, saying that it's too short and it lacks depth. But honestly, I actually liked the shorter episodes. I liked that it was really snappy. I found that it was short, sharp, and super easy to binge. Some praised its relatable and calm portrayal of challenges like motherhood and brand building, while others found that it really lacks depth and is too promotional, with one reviewer even calling it dull, which that's a fair assessment. The Guardian gave it a mixed review, rating it 3 out of 5 stars, and I think their review kind of sums it up really nicely in terms of public reception. It says, Molly-Mae, behind it all, is a keep calm and carry on poster in the form of a beige, hyperbolic, and strangely enthralling documentary. I will say, comparing season 1 to season 2, I did actually much prefer season 2, and in season 1, I found the Maybe storyline so boring. All I wanted to know about was Molly-Mae and Tommy Fury. That was all I I cared about. Whereas this season, I actually found the Maybe storyline a little bit more interesting, and I think that's because the stakes were higher and not everything was perfect. She actually has something to lose. Like, it did feel like, you know, we're watching her on this journey. So I did actually enjoy the Maybe side of things a little more, even though, as I've established, I don't actually like the clothes. I enjoyed the storyline a lot more this season. A lot of critics and people online have really come for Molly with her behavior around the L'Oreal fashion show. That has definitely been a discussion point, and I completely agree. She comes across as really out of touch, especially around the L'Oreal campaign, with people calling her bratty and privileged. And yeah, I do tend to agree with that. It's honestly a bit of a hard watch. It does come across as quite bratty, and I understand that she's stressed and it's her self-confidence that's lacking. But it's honestly like, babes, like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and get on with it. You're being paid to be here. Just do it. However, the biggest backlash about this whole documentary, and you can probably guess what that is, and that is basically how much they showed of Bambi. Viewers have already said how they thought the potty training and bath scenes were too invasive of a child that young, and I completely agree. And it raises questions about the boundaries between authenticity and exploitation in influencer parenting. And a really interesting thing that has been brought up, and is so true, because in the documentary, obviously, like, Bambi's taken a shit on her potty thing, or she's in the bath also taking a shit, and they're blurring her, right? They're blurring her while Molly's like changing her and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there was still a film crew in there capturing that footage, and someone did then have to go on to edit that footage. It's a bit weird. Like, I personally wouldn't want footage of my child to be reviewed in that manner. I wouldn't want a camera person to have footage of my child in that scenario. I don't agree with it, but anywho, other people are also commenting on the whole, and again, I've already touched on it throughout this episode, but how melancholy she is. She really does not seem like a happy person. She is not okay. And she has this incredible picture perfect life, the life of people's dreams. She's got this gorgeous home. Like I said, gorgeous home. She's got this dream life, and she's so unhappy. She's so anxious, and she's so melancholy, and she doesn't have fun. It doesn't really seem like she has a huge amount of friends her own age. She doesn't go out for dinners and drinks with her friends, or like, she doesn't really seem to have a community outside her sister Zoe, her influencer friend Taylor, and her manager Fran. It's quite sad. I honestly, I feel for her. I do. And maybe that's at the heart of it. A glossy life that feels a little hollow. Molly-Mae Behind It All Season 2 is a beautifully produced and deeply personal production, but is also deeply uncomfortable in parts. It blurs the line between vulnerability and oversharing. It's clear that Molly-Mae is really trying to find who she is as she grows into her late 20s, motherhood, and her relationship with Tommy is still complicated. But it begs the question, does she even know what she wants anymore, or who she wants to be? Whether you find her inspiring or infuriating, she's still one of the most fascinating influencers to watch. And season 2 proves that no matter how perfect her world looks, she's still figuring it out just like the rest of us. So that is where I'm going to leave it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Yap Trap the podcast. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this deep dive into part 1 of season 2 of Molly-Mae's documentary. Of course, when part 2 comes out, early 2026, we'll be covering it again. So don't you worry, there will be a part 2 of this video as well. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please like. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, please leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're listening to this on a podcast platform like Spotify or Apple or wherever it is, please rate the podcast 5 stars, follow it so it shows up in your feed when there's a new episode, and go over to Instagram and TikTok and follow at Yap Trap the podcast for updates on the podcast. Thank you so much. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back next week for another topic. Mwah.